I haven't done one of these in a while, so I've been wanting to actually do one, and I thought this would actually be a good one to kind of do a mini review or a short form review. Not a long one like I used to do, where they took like maybe 20 to 30 minutes, but just a quick little short one. And I felt like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would be a good one to try and see how that works out. First of all, I wanted to talk about the story. The story I found to be very enjoyable. The cutscenes were amazingly beautiful. The characters of all the Suicide Squad were fantastic. Their voiceovers were on point. Everyone was really good. Captain Boomerang, who actually was my favorite.
Walla! 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 Oh, right. Oi, Walla! What the hell have you sent us into? It's a bloody war zone out here. There's a giant skull in the sky.
Congratulations, Task Force X.
King Shark, who was played by Smojo, was pitch perfect and hilarious as like the unknowing straight man.
Where'd the shark go?
Children.
Deadshot was really good as the straight man, who still also had a few good little one-liners and zingers in there as well.
Goddamn Peachy. Ready to kick your ass. How you feeling, people?
I'm kinda zoned out.
Talk. Y'all are stomping all over my moment here.
And of course, Harley Quinn was as good as she always is, which is always hilariously entertaining.
Well, 4 exploding heads are better than 1. Where are we going, and who are we killing?
They geared us up to take on an army.
Wait. Is that big dropkick driving the flaming train?
I am not. I have never traveled by train before.
Ah, brilliant.
You jinxed it. This ride's like the Aussie. It's old and it stinks.
Joke's on you, love. I'm not that old.
I enjoyed this story. I know a lot of people have a problem with it, but it does take place in the Arkhamverse. But the thing about it is, I just imagine those Arkham games in their own world, and this is obviously included in that world. But think of it more of as like a what if story. That's how I see it. Like, as up to this point, I enjoyed the story, and just imagine it as a what if story. This isn't their story part anymore. This story's about the Suicide Squad, and the others are just in it to be supporting characters. So I really liked it. It didn't hurt me. It didn't ruin my childhood like a lot of people think. So that part just bugs me. But yeah, I mean, you know, to each their own.
Let's find Luther. Get close to the terminal. Let me stand.
The gameplay, for me, the traversal in this game was awesome, like amazing. Standouts for me were Captain Boomerang with his little Speed Force gauntlet, Deadshot with his jetpack, even King Shark's just raw, power, like jumping around was really good traversal. Harley's sadly was a little off for me. Like, hers was the only one that didn't like seem too fun to do. Like, I feel like that they should have had that in the oven a little longer and really cooked a little bit more with that one. Like, eventually I kind of got it, but it wasn't that fun. Harley was fun as a character, but her traversal was like the weakest of the 4. And then with the gunplay, the gameplay, the main gameplay point, the gunplay, it is awesome. I think, at least. The guns all felt really good. Shotguns, sniper rifles, all those. I enjoyed playing with all of them. I did not play that much with pistols. But I did play, obviously, across all characters and use all types of guns, again, except pistols. But I think with the mix of traversal and gunplay is when this game really shines, because when you're flying around all over the place, running up buildings, jumping around, and shooting, it is a lot of fun. and the traversal and the gunplay work amazingly together. The only small thing is some of the missions can be a little frustrating because some of the missions have certain parameters that you have to do, like you can only kill Brainiac's goons if, say, you have to get critical hits on them, and it just becomes something you forget about because then eventually there becomes so many enemies, and it's fun to fight a shit ton of enemies, but once you forget that you have to do a specific thing for them, and you keep screwing up, then you're like, oh fuck, how do I do that again? And then you're kind of scrambling, and then it becomes a kind of a pain. But if once you remember and kind of keep focused on that, it's actually not that bad, but it can become very frustrating because I lost my shit a couple of times with these missions because I kept forgetting how to do certain things, like how to get critical hits, how to do this, how to do that. You can only kill enemies with shield harvesting. It becomes a little bit of a pain, but in the end, you just got to remember what you're doing, and they are fun. The missions can be fun. It's just annoying when you forget what you're supposed to be doing. The crafting isn't bad, but I kind of didn't really use it because usually the mission rewards gave me good enough weapons that I was just like, okay, I'll just use that. Or I just use the black mask weapons, the sniper rifle and the minigun from the beginning, and I just pretty much use those. But eventually I got good weapons from the mission rewards. And then eventually I did kind of, at one point I decided to test out the crafting, and I got a couple of cool guns out of it, but mainly it's not bad, but I didn't use it enough to really like care about it. In the boss fight arena, so to speak, I really actually enjoyed them for the most part. I enjoyed the Flash's fight. Batman's was okay. It was interesting in the beginning, and then it kind of turned into an okay boss fight. It could have been a little better, but I understood what they were doing. The Superman fight was very frustrating, and I think that's my least favorite fight. I really enjoyed the Green Lantern boss battle. That one I thought was a lot of fun, a lot of aerialness to it, and it was a good time. The Brainiac fight could have been a little bit better. It was very underwhelming because of the fact that, well, I won't spoil it here, but he kind of, I assumed he was going to take traits from all the boss fights and kind of mold it into one final boss fight, and he kind of just takes from one boss fight, and that's it. And there was only really the one stage of the fight. There wasn't multiple stages. There was just the one stage, and I was like, okay, that's done. That's it. Okay. But I guess in trying to keep this as quick and fast as possible, I really enjoyed this game. I think the story was fun. The characters were great. The voiceovers were great. The characters were spot on, like, of them. Like, they felt like their characters, and they were really, really entertaining. Like, there was never dull for me. The traversal and the quips back and forth as you're traveling to certain areas on the map were always entertaining. Like, I was never bored. But again, the only problems I had was a couple of the bosses were kind of underwhelming, and I didn't really use the crafting. But I mean, if you do, hey, it's not a bad thing, but it just was kind of there, and I don't know how to really explain that one. But the crafting was fine, but it was overall I liked the game, or I love the game. I recommend it if you're a DC fan. If you like fun traversal games or fun shooter games with interesting melee options as well, it's fun. It's totally worth, I would say, the regular price. I would say don't get the deluxe edition, just get the regular game, and possibly even wait a little bit until it goes down at least to, maybe $10 to $20 if you're really worried about it. But the story, I feel like, was good enough to warrant the price of admission, and I thought the gameplay as well was worth it. So I feel like I got my money's worth, and will continue to get my money's worth from this game. And yeah, that's as quick as I could be. If this video does well enough, maybe I'll try it again. Yeah, see ya.